the last Mission Impossible, you learned how to hold your breath underwater.
Yes.
Tell the people how long. This is incredible. How long could you hold your breath for underwater?
6.5 minutes.
Good, right?
Yeah. Those takes underwater, because it took from the time you get rid of the regulator, get rid of the bubbles, get on the side, and we wanted to do it in one shot. So they were very, very long shots. So these takes took, I'd have to hold it consistently, safely up to 4 minutes almost for every take.
Almost to the point of why bother?
So, welcome to Trimming the Movie Fat, the podcast where we trim films from franchises that don't belong. I'm Stephen Nicholson.
And I'm Paul Nicholson.
And today we're sprinting across rooftops, disobeying our bosses and holding on to the side of planes as we return to the world of the IMF in the concluding part of our look at the Mission Impossible movie series. The mission we've accepted is to rank each movie top, middle or lower tier. Which movies will survive the halo jump from 30,000 feet? Brad Bird's Kremlin-destroying 4th entry, Christopher McQuarrie's Vienna visiting 5th, and the franchise high 6, Fallout. Keep listening to find out. We'll also share some Mission Impossible movie facts, provide an overview of each movie, and share our thoughts on each. And to conclude, we'll rank all 6 movies in order of preference and give our initial thoughts on the recently released 7th entry, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Okay, so Paul, we've obviously looked at Mission Impossible 1 to 3 in the last episode. Looking at 4, 5 and 6, we'll maybe discount the 7th one, as we've only seen it once. Do you have a favourite scene from those 3 movies?
I liked in the 5th one where he's got to put that little disc in, he's going round the water thing, he's going round and round, he's got to put the disc. I just think that looks amazing.
I think for me, the one that sticks out, I think it's just because of the way it's shot and the music that goes with it, as well as from Fallout, where one where Tom Cruise broke his ankle when he was running through London across the rooftops. I think it goes through St. Paul's Cathedral, is it? He goes through there and gets to, is it the Tate Modern Gallery where he catches up? Yeah? I think it is. I could be wrong. So, yeah, I think that's just fantastic, the way that was shot. Okay, we've just put Record on, which was received from the IMF by courier. And the message on it said that we should get on with critiquing the movies and that this message will self-destruct again in 5 seconds. Okay, we're at the controls of the helicopter. Let's go.
Comm check.
We're live.
Target acquired.
The hell is that?
Abort.
Ethan, what happened in the Kremlin?
It was a setup.
The Russians are classifying this as an undeclared act of war. The blame points to you and your team. The president has initiated Ghost Protocol. The entire IMF has been disavowed.
So what happens now?
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
The secretary is dead. The 4 of us are all that remains of the IMF. No safe house, no support or extraction. Everyone connected with this man is an asset with valuable information. We come back with our target, or we don't come back.
And how do you propose that we do that?
We take him out.
Yeah, we take her out, but, discreetly.
Discreetly. Operation's over before it even begins.
Would you care to explain yourself, Brandt?
Who are you really?
We all have our secrets. Don't we, Ethan?
Okay, this is a slight wrinkle. We're going to have to go into the server room from the outside.
We?
I'm on the computer.
I think this man has found the fountain of youth.
I think that there's some weird potion.
He has developed a serum from the genitals of frogs, and he's cooked it into a special stew which he consumes every night through a small straw.
It was pretty dynamic doing them, challenging, very challenging, and but I've been doing it so long, you develop, you work on skills, and I get to learn new things, and so far it hasn't been a problem.
It played up the comedy. The film's got very clean visual edge to it. Most importantly, Brad Bird, who's gone from animation to live action, but he's basically still directing it like The Incredibles. I mean, it's the same sort of story, superheroes, they've been disavowed by the world, but actually they're still needed. And crucially, rather than going for 3D, he's gone for IMAX. Now, if you get a chance to see this film in IMAX, you really should. That sequence, when Tom Cruise has to climb up 17 floors whilst up on the 100 and something floor of a skyscraper, was vertiginous in the extreme, and is actually the best advert for IMAX I've seen in a very long time. Christopher Nolan, who's directing the new Dark Knight movie, feels the same way, and I have this suspicion that 2012 is going to be the year that demonstrates the future isn't 3D, the future is IMAX.
Okay, so we're kicking off with Ghost Protocol, released in 2011 and directed by Brad Bird. So the plot for this one, blamed for a terrorist attack on the Kremlin, Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, and the entire IMF agency are disavowed by the US government, while the president initiates the Ghost Protocol. Forced to go off the grid, left without resources or backup, Hunt must somehow clear the agency's name and prevent another attack. Complicating matters even more, Ethan must undertake the impossible mission with a group of fellow IMF fugitives whose actual motives are suspect. So the gross in this one, it grossed $700 million US worldwide on a budget of $145 million. So it made nearly 5 times its budget, and it was the 5th highest grossing movie worldwide in 2011, with the winner that year being the final Harry Potter movie. And it is the 3rd highest grossing Mission Impossible movie domestically at this time. So ratings wise, it's done really well. So from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 93%, whilst the critics on IMDb, it's got a 73 out of 100 score. Audience-wise, audiences liked it as well, with a 76% Rotten Tomatoes audience score and a 7% Rotten Tomatoes audience score and a 7.4 IMDb audience rating. And here is a fact related to the movie. Although the screenplay is credited to Josh Applebaum and Andre Nemec, future Mission Impossible writer and director Christopher McQuarrie did an uncredited rewrite. And in summary, stylish, fast-paced and loaded with gripping set pieces, the 4th Mission Impossible is a big-budget popcorn entertainment that really works. So did it work for you, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant film. It just takes the franchise up another level from 3, which was a decent film. It wasn't brilliant, but it was a decent film. And this, 5 years later? 4 or 5 years later, it really
5 years, yeah, 5.
Yeah, raises the bar, and just from the bit at the start, even saw it in the cinema and IMAX. I think one of the first films I saw in IMAX, and the bit at the start is just really quite funny when he's in the prison in Russia.
Yep,
it's just really clever how it all comes together. It's just, no, I think it's a brilliant film.
Is it Bogdan?
Yeah.
Bogdan. Yeah.
To the camera.
Yeah. And Yuri and Bogdan.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant film. Very good film.
Yeah, I think you were saying seeing it in IMAX. For me, well, in Edinburgh, for those that don't know, the first IMAX screen, and it's still the only IMAX screen in Edinburgh is at Cineworld here. And I think this was perhaps the first movie or new movie that was released in IMAX here at that time. So yeah, I remember going to see it. It was maybe just after Christmas.
It was, sort of.
2011 or something.
Yeah, sort of a colleague from work at the time. Yeah, yeah. So it was around Christmas holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was always special from that. I always think it was the first IMAX movie in Edinburgh. I went to see it with Alison. And Jeff, I totally agree. I think it's when the Mission Impossible franchise found its groove, it found its tone, and it's been consistent from here on in. I think it's just found that audience sweet spot, and they've made consistently great movies since then. And and it's also the start of the film titles that you can never remember.
Yeah, I just know it as Mission Impossible 4.
Yeah, no, you can never remember the titles to these movies. I think this is the most purely fun Mission Impossible movie. It's just the most fun to watch.
Yeah, you could well be right there, actually.
Yep.
Doesn't
just
take itself
pure,
too seriously.
It doesn't, and it just rattles through, doesn't give you time to think. The pace, it doesn't let up from the beginning. I think, it's really globe-trotting as well, isn't it? I think you've got Dubai, Russia, Hungary, the US.
Moscow.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I think, the Moscow stuff was great. So I like the gadget with, the projector screen to confuse the guards.
Yeah, that's the best bit, isn't it?
Sound effect. Yeah, it's really good. Another really good thing is, I think, is Anil Kapoor, the actor who played when was it Mumbai they go to?
Yeah.
Mumbai. And he's the guy that owns obviously the big extravagant palace type place who's holding the party. And he's flirting with Paula Patton. He's brilliant, really funny. And she was good actually, Paula Patton. The kind of the comedic side of things, I think those two is a highlight of the movie. And I think actually the humour in it's really good throughout, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit like the lighter side of Bond, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because for me, that probably overtook the Bond films at that point, possibly. I think.
Yeah, and you know what? It's actually a good point. It is in a lot of ways, and this is actually a compliment. It is like something like The Spy Who Loved Me updated. It just gets that tone just absolutely perfectly, where the right side of comedy and action and seriousness.
Yeah, and as always, the stunts are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And again, it comes back to Tom Cruise is doing those stunts. I think the one on the Burj Khalifa is, I remember seeing at the time tourists were taking videos of Tom Cruise kind of running outside the building, from God knows how many feet up. Fair play to him.
Yeah,
no. All the stuff in Dubai is great, actually.
It is.
You ever been to Dubai?
I've not. It's somewhere I'd like to go.
Yeah,
you've been,
interesting. No, I've nearly been. I was in Abu Dhabi. And Dubai's 1 hour's drive or something. I think from there it's not too far away. And on rewatching it, here's something I'd totally forgotten. Lea Seydoux in it, who obviously played in the last two James Bond movies, Madeline.
That's right. Yeah, she's in.
Totally forgot.
Yeah, because she'd also done Inglourious Bastards, didn't she?
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she was in that, which would have been 2 years previous to this. Yeah, so she was in this. Yeah, she's in the hotel in Dubai, isn't she?
Yeah. So that's good. I think Jeremy Renner was really good. Good addition to the franchise. Really good. Shame he wasn't back in the latest one.
He wasn't in the sixth one either, was he? No, I think he was just in the fourth and fifth.
Yeah, fourth and fifth. Yeah, and some other moments I liked in it. The bad guy Hendrix at the end of the movie, where he grabs the case so Tom Cruise can't get it, and just falls off the parking lot.
Yeah,
grabs it and jumps off. It's just quite funny. And I liked as well the twist in it, where you've all throughout the movie you're thinking that obviously from the third movie, Ethan Hunt was married, and you're led to believe his wife's dead throughout this movie, and then it's revealed it was all just like all cloak and daggers to protect her, and she's living in San Francisco now. I thought that was really quite a good twist as well.
Yeah,
And what do you think of the gadgets in this one? I think you had the printing briefcase. So when you seen the kind of eye scanner thing, it would see something and then it would be printed in the briefcase,
Mhm.
in another room. And you had I think the eye retina scan. You had the robot, the suit, the magnetic kind of suit, and the robot that would take you along above it.
Oh, yeah.
And there, and of course the gloves that Tom Cruise is using to climb up the building, which keep failing, which is good. So there was some good stuff in there, and I think another fun moment is when Tom Cruise is stopping the missile from exploding, and he's like, "Mission accomplished." And then he's talking to the guys later in the bar, and he's like, "Really? You said that?" He's like, "Yeah." Or corny. So, anything you didn't like about the movie?
No, I don't think there is actually. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought it was pretty flawless, really. What about you? Do you see any weaknesses in it?
It would be nitpicking, but maybe just the main bad guy Hendrix, because Michael Nyqvist is a great actor, but he's not really given that much to do in this, and I think his character and his motivations are pretty thin. It's very much the MacGuffin. Here's the bad guy, and here's what he's going to do. And
He runs away all the time. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah. Whereas I think maybe you see in the next couple of movies, the bad guys are given that maybe extra dimension, which he doesn't have. But yeah, he was still good in it. So Ben, what did you think of Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol?
I think it was really good. It was really fun, and there's loads of great action in it. And I think I haven't seen the first 3 movies, but I know it's better than the first 3. I think, and it's really cool when the main character is climbing up the Burj Khalifa, and it's really cool because like he's done it in real life. And yeah, it's a really good story as well.
So, what did you think of Tom Cruise as an action hero?
He's really good because he's like 60, but he looks not 60, and he's really good at stuff. Like even though he's like in an older age, and he's really great at acting as well, and the stunts.
What was your favourite scene from the movie?
Probably when they're climbing up the Burj Khalifa tower. It's really cool.
And what did you think of the bad guy in it?
Honestly, I can't really remember who was the bad guy in it.
And what was your favourite gadget from the movie?
I don't really know. I think the gloves that he used were cool.
So we are ranking each of these, top, middle, or lower tier. Where would you place Rogue Nation?
Top.
Yep, I agree with you. Top tier Mission Impossible movie, and I would go as far as saying one of the best action movies of the last 20 years. I think it's that good.
I would agree with that.
Yep, great.
You have to get through 12 feet of concrete and 70,000 gallons of pressurized water without any metal.
No oxygen tanks. Benji, stand by to receive.
Ethan, you ready?
Important point. If you haven't opened that hatch after 2.5 minutes, we're both dead.
No.
Ethan, do you copy? Ethan, abort! Abort now! Whoa. Are you okay to drive? I mean, a minute ago you were dead. What are you talking about? This is not going to end well.
Mr. Chairman, the time has come to dissolve the IMF. It's not just a rogue organization. It is a disgraced one.
Shutting down the IMF is a mistake you may regret. This is Brent.
Go secure.
Go.
the syndicate is real and they know who we are. A rogue nation, trained to do what we do.
An anti-IMF.
They're coming after us with everything they've got.
Oh boy.
You want to bring down the syndicate? It's impossible.
Take your position.
I have eyes.
The show is about to start.
Got it. You and your team will answer for every wanton act of mayhem you are responsible for.
Now we are all wanted by the CIA. Awesome.
Get your seatbelt on. You asking me that now?
This may be our last mission. Let's make it count.
Open the door!
Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Benji, open that door right now!
Oh my God!
I have always loved Mission Impossible.
Oh, thanks.
And actually,
We've never met before, right?
follow me.
She is a badass. She walked in the room, McHugh and I were like, I just looked at him, I was like, she got the job. She got the job.
You've met your match.
I saw Tom and Chris walking up to me, and I sort of went, I can work with them.
That's the only way.
That's the only way.
Well, we were lucky.
Was.
That's how we felt. Her timing, her rhythm with the fights, her movement. Just the height thing you had to get over.
Yeah, I had vertigo.
The first thing you did was jump off the roof of the opera.
Yeah, Tom was kind enough to tell me. He said, vertigo. Great, so we're descending from the rooftop in Vienna. Awesome. There's so much risk, and the stakes are so high. But anything can happen.
Here they come! Get in!
Ilsa is an incredible badass in this movie.
What the? She tried to shoot me!
Doesn't make her a bad person.
Oh! Change of plan! Throw her out!
Christopher McQuarrie, who directs here, he does have that fantastic opening set piece, but really as a director, the only previous film he's directed is Jack Reacher, and the kind of binding aesthetic of that movie was just let Tom Cruise do what he wants. The same thing kind of happens here, and I just think, where's the vision? It just, the set pieces could almost be rearranged into any order, and the film would make no less sense than it does already. There's not that kind of binding vision behind it. If you want to see Tom Cruise kind of pinballing around the place, then, you get that bang for your buck. And I think, the film kind of works on its own terms. But for me, it's the first Mission Impossible film since the second one to feel like it's just stringing along this very odd and very cherishable franchise and not really doing anything else with it.
Okay, so Rogue Nation was released in 2015, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. And the plot for this one, with the IMF now disbanded and Ethan Hunt out in the cold, a new threat called the Syndicate soon emerges. The Syndicate is a network of highly skilled operatives who are dedicated to establishing a new world order via an escalating series of terrorist attacks. Faced with what may be the most impossible mission yet, Ethan gathers his team and joins forces with Ilsa Faust, played by Rebecca Ferguson, a disavowed British agent who may or may not be a member of this deadly rogue nation. So the gross for this one, it grossed just a little bit less than Ghost Protocol, so it took 682 million worldwide on a budget of 150 million. So it made 4.5 times its budget, and it was the 8th highest grossing movie worldwide in 2015, with Star Wars The Force Awakens being the top earner that year. And it is, to date, the 4th highest grossing Mission Impossible movie of all time domestically. So ratings-wise, it's done extremely well again. So 94% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics, and 75 out of 100 critic Metascore on IMDb. Audience-wise, very good again. 87% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. And the fact for you, stunt coordinator Wade Eastwood claims that Cruise held his breath for just over 6 minutes in the underwater sequence, which is... It's one of these things. I don't know if there's anything Tom Cruise can can't actually do, you know. And in summary, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation continues the franchise's thrilling resurgence and proves that Tom Cruise remains an action star without equal. Rogue Nation, Paul. When did you see this, and what did you think of it?
Saw it in the cinema. I've seen all of them apart from the second one. Cinema, but brilliant. Possibly the best one.
Ooh, bold claim.
I just think it's just brilliant how, because like when it gets to 4 films in a franchise, well, even after 3, you think, oh, generally the quality goes down, but these actually just seem to go up another level. And I just thought it was brilliant, everything about it. I like the bit at the start as well, and it's good having Rebecca Ferguson in it. And I like the baddie's quite sinister, actually. He's quite scary.
He's brilliant. Great baddie.
Lane, he's quite scary.
Yes.
And
I think he'd be scary in real life, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. He always plays that character, doesn't he?
I know.
But he's brilliant, and just all the scenes, and I like the editing in a lot of the Mission Impossible films. How almost it all goes together, all fits together well, and the little sort of, even when they change their mask, their face and stuff, it's just really quite clever. And of course, the bit at the start is amazing. The stunt on the plane, absolutely. But yeah, an excellent film.
Yeah, so I've seen this at the cinema as well, and I remember not enjoying it as much as Ghost Protocol. However, I think it's a less kind of frenetic movie. It does pause for breath a bit more. However, it's one of those movies that I think gets better with repeated viewing. And if you could ask me on different days which I prefer, Rogue Nation or Ghost Protocol, I would kind of swing backwards and forwards, depending on what mood I'm in. But yeah, it's another hugely impressive movie in the series. Great movie. Yeah, as you said, Sean Harris is a bad guy. You know, the series is best bad guy, no doubt about it. He's the best bad guy. Just really hateable and scary character. I think you've got great stunts in it again. I mean, even the opening one with Tom Cruise clinging onto the side of the plane, which again he done for real. And you can remember at the time reading up on it, and you were hearing that obviously it was very risky because the plane's going that fast along the runway before takeoff, and if anything, kind of a stone or anything pops up, you know, could kill Tom Cruise, hits him in the head. So
he must have good insurance.
There'd be some healthy insurance there. And of course, you mentioned Rebecca Ferguson being in it, who's a brilliant addition to the franchise, isn't she?
Yeah.
So beautiful, charismatic, talented. And I loved her character's dubiety as well. You could never quite sure if you could trust her or not.
That's right.
Which was good. You were always kind of changing your mind on it. And the same with Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. He's quite good in it, actually. He's good.
He's good, isn't he? And I like the way he changes his opinion by the end and comes out supporting.
I can neither confirm nor deny. That's what. Jeffrey
Neither confirm or deny. Jeremy Renner, he's really good in it again, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good in it.
More the same. He's not been back since then. And I like the nice twist at the beginning where I think Ethan Hunt goes to the record shop in London and he thinks he's getting his next mission, but it's actually the syndicate who kind of gas him and capture him there. I like the how they had the record giving him his mission, puts the needle down. That was really good. That was pretty good.
It's quite retro.
As is how good is the opera scene in this movie?
Yeah, all the fighting and stuff, and Rebecca Ferguson reminded me a bit of The Living Daylights, but it was better than The Living Daylights.
Oh yeah.
He tries to shoot the character. Bond tries to shoot the lady with the cello.
Or The Godfather 3, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
You know, the end of that movie. But yeah, that whole scene is fantastic from beginning to end. The opera, the way it's kind of staged, the music, camera framing, sound, brilliant piece of cinema. And again, we've got some good gadgets in here again, including the electronic pick lock device that just seems to attach to the lock and unlocks it for you. And what about the humour in this? Anything immediately spring to mind that you found funny?
I liked the bit at the end, near the end, when Tom Holland, the Prime Minister, and how they feel that Atlee, the character, he always plays the same character as well, but
he does.
Atlee, how obviously it's Ethan Hunt that's wearing a mask, his mask, and it's just really quite clever how they do it. And did they not get is it his retina or his voice or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the group and the box and stuff. No, I found that bit quite funny. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I think the funniest part for me was when after Tom Cruise is kind of drowned, they've brought him back to life. Remember, he runs outside to get in the car and he jumps over the bonnet and the Mission Impossible music's like dun, 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 and he jumps over and falls flat in his face.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously just come to again, being revived. He's like, oof.
He's done that
straight over
deliberately,
the bonnet
so
and down to the ground.
Yeah, he's doing that deliberately so Rebecca Ferguson will revive him.
Wouldn't we all want that? To be fair, wouldn't we all want that? And anything that's in this episode that you didn't particularly like?
No, I don't think there was anything.
Yeah, hard to pick holes in it, isn't it? It's
I know,
pretty,
I just really like
pretty
it.
flawless. Yep, music and direction. Perform, yeah, it's pretty much all on point, isn't it? So, what did you think of Rogue Nation?
It was really good. It had lots of great moments, and I probably liked it more than Ghost Protocol, but I don't really know. They're mainly on the same level, I think. And the villain was really good in it.
Was the villain scary?
Yeah, but not really in this one, but in the next one he's scary.
Yeah, and what did you think of the bad guy group in this one called the Syndicate?
They were scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your favourite action sequence from this movie?
Probably when they're at the opera at the start.
Yeah, what made that good?
Because there's loads of things going on at the same time, but it feels like it's connected, and it feels really cool.
Yeah. And Rebecca Ferguson was added to the franchise as Elder Faust. What did you think of her?
Yeah, she was really good. Yeah, good character.
Yeah. And any funny moments in the movie that you particularly laughed at?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, there probably was, but I just can't really remember.
Yeah.
So I think I know where we're going with this. Top, middle, or lower tier? I'm going top again.
Yeah, same as me.
Alrighty. So the MI movies are doing well in this episode. Let's see if 2018's Fallout can continue the trend.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, I wonder, did you ever choose not to? The end you always feared is coming. And the blood will be on your hands. The fallout of all your good intentions.
You had a terrible choice to make in Berlin. One life over millions. And now the world is at risk.
This is the CIA's mission. If he had held on to the plutonium, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And his team would be dead.
Yes, they would. That's the job.
Down with the victims. We both know you need them. Stuck in the middle of all irrelevance.
You don't understand what you're involved in.
You need to walk away.
Please don't make me go through you.
How many times has Hunt's government betrayed him, disavowed him, cast him aside? How long before a man like that has had enough?
You can't fight the friction.
Ethan, that's not who we are.
Maybe we need to reconsider that.
So, how is he?
Oh, you know, same old Ethan.
What the hell is he doing?
I find it best not to look.
So you're the first director to ever come back for a Mission Impossible movie. What brought you back?
Tom
Really?
Tom asked me to come back. I said no, I can't do that. This is a different director every time. That's what the fans come to expect. And he said, well, precedents are made to be broken. I want you to come back, and I feel like we've got more story to tell. So I said, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not going to continue in the direction we're going.
Right.
Rogue Nation really tipped its hat to Ghost Protocol. And I said, I think a third time it's going to be cute, and we need to change direction. I want to make a darker movie. I want to make a more personal movie, a longer movie, a bigger movie. And Tom said, okay.
And it's not exactly jam-packed with character development, but I like that they gave Ethan a sense of progression. This isn't under the illusion that this is the same Ethan as the first film, which is a nice breakaway from. There's a little bit of a tendency with Tom Cruise films recently to pretend that he is a 30-year-old man, just like The Mummy. Let's not bring that back up again, but it's nice that it's actually. We've sensed that he's gone on a journey, even though those films are so insular and so sort of, it doesn't matter if you haven't seen Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
And I think that, they're bringing in Henry Cavill, who's something of a younger threat. And he's also made to really reckon with the choices that he's made over his life. And that's where the title comes from, like the fallout of all your good intentions, which is a great line from the trailer. For example, what happens to his wife, Julia, played by Michelle Monaghan, who has had to previously take on a new identity just to protect herself from the shadow of Ethan Hunt. And so it's a nice way of subtly reflecting back on the previous films without really impacting this idea of the flawless hero. And so, I don't know if this is going to be the last one, but if it is, I feel like it is a pretty perfect finale.
So, for the first time in the franchise's history, we had a returning director. So Christopher McQuarrie was back for 2018's Fallout. And the plot for this one, so Ethan Hunt and the IMF team join forces with CIA assassin August Walker. What a good name, August Walker. Played by Henry Cavill and his moustache. To prevent a disaster of epic proportions. Arms dealer John Lark and a group of terrorists known as the Apostles plan to use 3 plutonium cores for a simultaneous nuclear attack on the Vatican, Jerusalem, and Mecca in Saudi Arabia, I should say. When the weapons go missing, Ethan and his crew find themselves in a desperate race against time to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. So the gross for this one was a franchise high, so it grossed just under 800 million worldwide on a budget of 178 million. So it made similar to Rogue Nation, just over 4.5 times its budget. And it was the 8th highest grossing movie, both domestically and worldwide in 2018, with Black Panther taking the crown domestically and Avengers Infinity War taking the crown worldwide. And as I mentioned already, highest grossing Mission Impossible movie of all time at this date in August 2023. And ratings wise, franchise high here, so 97% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score, 86 out of 100 critic Metascore on IMDb. For the audience wise, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is fantastic. And on IMDb, it has a 7.7 out of 10 audience score. And here's a fact for you. So Cruise broke his ankle jumping from one rooftop to the other in London while filming, and that take is actually included in the movie. So you probably knew as well when you watched it which scene it was, and every time I watch it, I just kind of wince at the obviously you know he's broken his ankle and he's pulled himself up and hobbled off. Again, is there anything Tom Cruise can't do? Broken bones can't even stop the man.
No.
And in summary, fast, sleek, and fun, Mission Impossible Fallout lives up to the impossible part of its name by setting yet another high mark for insane set pieces in a franchise full of them. Okay, so is it a franchise high for you, Paul?
Yeah, another brilliant film. It's hard to know. Is it better than the previous one, or is it certainly on par? But brilliant. A lot of the same cast actually that were in the previous one.
Yep.
We've got Angela Bassett and Vanessa Kirby in it, and I like the chases on the motorbike, and it looks sore that bit. And then he jumps, then he goes down underneath. It looks quite sore, but Rebecca Ferguson, you still don't know if she's good or bad when you're watching it as well. And obviously Solomon Lane's back, obviously, who's like the baddie. He's brilliant. And no, I thought it was a really good, brilliant film. And the stunts, as always, particularly at the end, when he's hanging on to the helicopter, and then when he's in the helicopter, absolutely brilliant.
And again, Tom Cruise, being Tom Cruise, actually pilots for real, pilots the helicopter. That's him flying the helicopter. Crazy. But yeah, I think this is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. This was my favorite movie of 2018, and I would say to you, this is arguably the greatest action movie of the 21st century. That's how highly I rate this movie. I think it is. It's brilliant. I think they set everything up really well at the beginning of the movie. I think you've got some additions to the cast that are fantastic, like Henry Cavill is
he's really good
brilliant in this movie. I think Ethan Hunt's the scalpel, and and Henry Cavill's character is the hammer. But he's great in it. He's one of the best bad guys in the franchise. Henry Cavill, absolutely superb. Vanessa Kirby is really good as is it the granddaughter of Max from the original movie. I can't remember if she's the daughter or granddaughter. I can't remember. But she's great casting as well. Really good. Again, Dubai to there. Is she good? Is she not good? And so on. And I think Angela Bassett, another good addition to the cast there. I think that's actually one of my favourite scenes in the movie, when Henry Cavill and Angela Bassett meet up in Paris, and they're kind of looking out onto the Eiffel Tower. Again, just a great short scene there, the way it was shot. And I think in it as well, we've got some great stunts again. I think the Halo jump, which again Tom Cruise done for real.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, skydive at 30,000 feet. Unbelievable. I'd love to try it, to be fair. Would you be interested?
Yeah, I think I would actually.
Yeah, just get them to push you out. No, I'd love to give that a go. But yeah, the Halo jump. I think the cinematography and direction, absolutely spot on. Looks great. Shot so well. I think Paris and London in particular look fantastic.
Some nightclub, isn't it?
Yeah, the nightclub in Paris is tremendous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence. What about the bathroom fight?
Oh, that's brilliant, yeah. And because they're big guys, Tom Cruise isn't, but Henry Cavill, big guy, in that short, not much room as well, and that quite claustrophobic, and that's what helps the scene.
I mean, we were talking earlier on about some of the best scenes in the franchise. I forgot about that one. That's a brilliant scene, that bathroom fight, because it is so brutal. Yeah, that's really, really good.
Do you know, it reminded me a wee bit of one of the best fight scenes in film, Red Grant and Bond and From Russia with Love, because they're in that tight space, in the train. And it reminded me of that a bit. It's just really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, all the action in this is just so, again, brutal, imaginative, filmed really well. Yeah, you know what's going on. The editing's not too fast. Really, really good. And it's great to see Rebecca Ferguson back.
Yeah.
Who, again, Alec Baldwin's back. Spoiler, a bit of a hero's death, but he's
Yeah.
really good in it. And I think this movie has the best soundtrack as well. What do you think?
I can't really remember the music, to be honest.
Not really?
I can't really remember. What I do think is brilliant is at the end as well, when he's hanging off the cliff and stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the atmosphere and maybe the music. Obviously, the music will play a part in that, but it's just brilliant. The thing that gets me as well, it looks, obviously, a lot of it was real stunts, but there have been some that aren't, that are in a studio, and but it all looks like really real. Even the bits that are probably CGI, it looks really, really real.
Well, I think Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie kind of come from the same school as Christopher Nolan, that they want to try and do it in camera. They want to do it practically if they can, because it's real, and the audience knows it's real. You know, whether it's the Halo jump, you know, the whole the truck sequence, the chase through Paris, which is sensational. It's actually, the beginning of that's a lot like The Dark Knight, where the police van's taken Harvey Dent through. I mean, it's quite similar to that, but that whole sequence is great because it's real. It's real trucks, it's motorbikes and cars, and it's filmed on the streets. It's like Cruise running along the rooftops and all that kind of stuff. It's been done. It's there. It's real. You know, it's real.
And it shows just going to say, it shows that he's got a human side as well, when like that French policewoman on her own, and then they're like, just go away, and then the guys come and shoot her, and like he says, I'm sorry, and he tries to get her help, even though he's like having to get away quickly. He still wants to help the person.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we get our bad guy back again.
Lane.
Yep, Sean Harris is back. And again, he's superb in this, isn't he? I think between him and Henry Cavill, it's just a great little double act.
Ethan Hunt, Ethan.
I can take you down, mate. Yeah. Good to see him back. And I think as I mentioned already, the London chase, I think, is just incredible. And I like the fact at the end you're thinking, why is he going to take one of these bombs and really into the middle of nowhere? And then you see it's obviously Hunt's ex-wife is working out there, and it's like, oh, nice, you know, clever, and it just ramps up that emotional involvement as well for both Hunt and the audience. Very, very clever to do that there in a really dramatic final third. So, anything in it that you would have preferred changed or weren't too keen on?
No, there's nothing. I just think it's these three, the 4, 5, and 6 in the franchise are perfect. I really can't really say anything, to be honest.
I would say to you, see if they had just been kind of Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3. You'd be saying that's one of the greatest trilogies in movie history, wouldn't you? You would, you really would.
Yeah.
I mean, my own, again, it's a nitpick here. Like most Mission Impossible movies, I think the double crossing can sometimes be a little bit hard to follow, where you think, who's working for who and why, and what's
sometimes it can be too smart for its own good. Sometimes.
Yeah, I know, and you think, I'm getting confused here. But yeah, that's just nitpicking. So, how would you rank Fallout compared to the previous two movies?
It's the best one, I think.
What makes it the best one?
It has the best action. Well, the villain is better than the last one. And yeah, it's really good, and it has great effects as well.
What did you think of Henry Cavill's character?
He was really good because he was funny, and he was a good villain at the end because he didn't really stop fighting even though he got half his face burned off.
And what was the best? There were lots of great action sequences in this. What was your favourite one?
Probably when they're having the fight in the bathroom.
Yes, that's really good. And what about the scene where Tom Cruise breaks his ankle? Did you wince when you seen it?
Not really, because you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And would you like to do the skydive from 30,000 feet?
No.
You're not going to do that?
No.
Okay. So let's rank it. Well, I'm definitely ranking it top tier. Brilliant movie. And I'm guessing you're doing the same?
Yep. Same, yeah.
So that's just covered the 6 movies, but obviously there was the newest one, Dead Reckoning Part 1, which came out, about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I went to see it opening weekend, and I think you just seen it a bit more recently, didn't you?
A few weeks ago now, but yeah, about 3 weeks ago, maybe something like that.
Alrighty, so we've got a bit of context for this now, because a couple of weeks have passed. So this is the longest film duration-wise. It is only part 1. We've not seen part 2. It's 2 hours and 40 long, so it's the longest Mission Impossible movie. What did you think?
Unfortunately, it went back to the quality of the first 3. It just felt. The thing is, I've only seen it once. I'd like to watch it again to just go over it again, but it just felt they were just trying to. It just felt a bit convoluted, like they're trying to put everything but the kitchen sink in, and it was just too much, and it was too long, and I think that lost me a bit. They could have taken at least half an hour out of it, and even some of the CGI wasn't that great as well. It was a bit obvious it was CGI, like bits at the end when they were hanging on and stuff. It looked a bit fake, but I don't know if the whole COVID thing had an influence on. I don't know. Maybe it affected the direction it went in. Maybe, I don't know. Just who knows? But yeah, I think it was a big downward trajectory from the previous 3.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be as harsh as you. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think it's as strong as the previous 3. Yeah, obviously it's too long. It is too long. I would agree with you there, although I did think it still went by fairly quickly. Some great action stuff in there, although I did feel some of it was a little bit too derivative of previous movies. For example, the car chase in, was it Rome?
Yeah.
I just thought, well, it's kind of similar to what you've done in Paris, for example, in the previous movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought some of it was feeling a bit repetitive compared to others. Again, spoilers, I very much disagreed what they did with the character of Ilsa Faust, Rebecca Ferguson's character. I disagreed with what they did with her character, and although Hayley Atwell was a good addition to the cast, she was good at it. And yeah, I mean, the action and everything's great. I like the airport sequence. That was really good. That was very dramatic. But yeah, so it sounds like I'm being negative. I don't mean to be. I still really enjoyed it. Still a really enjoyable movie, Mission Impossible movie. I just don't think it reached the kind of very high standards of the previous 3 movies in the franchise. So I would kind of rank it below them. But we've only seen it once, and I've seen myself.
Exactly. I'd like to give it another
2 or 3 times, and suddenly, actually, this is really good, and and the estimations go up.
And it's such a high. How can you top the previous 3 as well? It's like, it's almost impossible.
And also as part 1, and sometimes you don't get the same kind of conclusion when it's a complete movie. So when we've seen part 2 as well, you do tend to view the part 1s in a different light because you've got the full picture, if you like, the full story. So we'll see. Maybe Ilsa's not dead and it was just a dream. We don't know.
You never know. They've done his first wife or his wife. Yeah, what she was doing.
Well, I was disappointed because I thought that Ilsa was going to be the one that kind of Ethan Hunt would ride off into the sunset with. And I thought that would have been nice for the character, so that's why I'm a bit disappointed. And I think Rebecca Ferguson's great, so that's why I'd like to see her in the next one. So, so only having seen it once, what do you think?
It was a bit long, but it had some other really good stunts, like the one where they're climbing up the train carriages, and when they're driving the car through the city, because like it was actually done. Like both of them, like the train especially was really good because they done most of the stuff by themselves.
Okay, and Haley Atwell was added to the franchise. What impression did she make?
She was really good and fun, but also at the same time the character just felt like the sort of same character as like the last two like love interest characters.
Okay. And looking forward to seeing the concluding part?
Yeah.
Good. It's a date. So let us now rank. In fact, we'll put in Dead Reckoning Part 1 into the rankings as well, will we?
Okay.
How we're feeling about it at the moment. So I'll let you go first. Do you want to rank your favourite Mission Impossibles from least favourite to your favourite?
I would say least favourite would be the second one. The first one. Then Dead Reckoning. The third one, Ghost Protocol. Second would be Fallout, and the first one would be Rogue Nation.
Okay. For me, I would agree with you, Mission Impossible 2 is absolutely at the bottom of the pile. I would then have Mission Impossible 3. I would then have Dead Reckoning Part 1. Then it gets tough. I'd maybe have Rogue Nation, the original Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and Fallout. Is that all 7? Lost track there.
Yeah.
And I love the original movie, so I'd probably give that a nod ahead of Rogue Nation, although they're both great in my eyes. So there we go. So I'm thinking for the next episode, Paul, will we stick with spies and espionage, since we've kind of ploughed that furrow for the last few? But we'll stick with spying.
I think we should. Yes.
So I think, James Bond wise, we've done Roger Moore's movies, Pierce Brosnan's, and Daniel Craig's. Let's do Timothy Dalton's. We've only got 2 to do: Living Daylights and License to Kill.
Yeah, but two films that are certainly one of them, I would say, is like a real highlight, one of the highlights of the series.
Yep, great. Yep, 2 really good movies.
Very underrated Bond as well.
Yep, one of those movies is one of my favourite Bond movies. So yeah, next month we shall return to look at The Living Daylights and License to Kill. So if you want to weigh in on what you think of the Mission Impossible franchise or James Bond, then please get in touch. You'll find our contact details in the episode description. And we thank you for listening. And until next time, keep trimming.